Sure. We go on. To where and to what, I don't know. Some may remain. But what you will hear tonight will be a consistent thread indicating there is obviously something that comes after this life. Wildcard Line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Art, how's it going?
It's going fine.
All right, this is Tony from Las Vegas.
Hi, Tony. 2 Las Vegas calls in a row. Yes, sir.
I got a couple of spine tinglers for you.
Let her rip.
Okay, well, there's this park outside of St. Louis called Rockwoods.
Yes, sir.
And it's an old miner's place, bust silver joint, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out there one night. You're not supposed to.
Of course not.
But we do, just to have fun as teenagers.
Of course.
And we were sitting down, just relaxing, enjoying ourselves, you know, just because it's scary out there, you know. It was around Halloween, too.
Mm-hmm.
But we looked over, and there was nothing. It was dark.
Would you turn your before you go on? Would you turn your radio off, please?
It's okay. Yeah, hold on. Can you hold on?
Oh yes. I'd rather hold on than have the radio going. It's simply too confusing for all concerned to have it going on in the background. So have it close so you can turn it off right away when you get on the air.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
And the skyline you could see because there was enough moonlight. It was very dark everywhere else, though.
Sure.
Like within the valleys and the tree line and all that. It was just darker than all get out. And some dogs and other animals seemed to be barking. There was dogs barking, animals in the background. Over the hill, they had like a miniature zoo there at this park.
Mm-hmm.
Had like timber wolves and whatnot in it. And they were all barking. And the neighborhood dogs that were outside of the park limit, you could hear them too. They're all going wild. All going crazy.
I think animals sense things.
So we were kind of concerned about that. Like, what are they doing? Looking for somebody out here?
Sure. Or what's disturbing them? Yeah, right.
And then a light came over the top of the hill. We thought it was maybe one of the, searchers or whatever. We assumed that there was somebody out there making a ruckus near us because the dogs were so close.
Mm-hmm.
And they were barking very loudly.
Yes.
This light came over the hill, and we thought at first, hey, no big deal. It's just maybe a park ranger. It could be anything.
Sure.
We thought it was a flashlight, initially.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was coming down the hill, and it seemed to be passing through the trees as if it was, down like about the size of a man.
Right.
He'd be walking.
Right.
About 100 yards away on the valley hill. And he was coming down kind of slowly like a man walking.
Yes.
The light was about the size of a basketball, we started to notice. So we figured, hey, that's a pretty big light, This guy's got a big light out here.
Yeah.
And we were getting concerned maybe we should get up and go. Maybe he's going to kick us out of the park if it's a park ranger, which we weren't sure of. When it got to the bottom of the hill, the dogs were still barking, needless to say. And when this guy got to we thought it was a guy, got to the bottom of the hill, the light went off. Then it came back on. And we figured, what's he doing? He's trying to scare us out of the park or something,
right.
Just playing games. Then it started to generally go back up from where it came. I noticed something strange about this light, though, when it came back on. It was going back up the hill, same kind of way it came down. It was pointed towards us because it wasn't getting it was pure round. It wasn't elliptical.
I understand.
And so it was like maybe facing us or it was three-dimensional.
So what do you think it was?
Well, when it started going up the hills, I noticed another thing. There weren't any trees passing by it this time.
So it had to be above the tree line.
Well, we didn't figure that out really right away because we were just not thinking things like that. When it got to the top of the hill, it didn't go over the ridge like it initially appeared on the ridge, but
yes.
It went above the ridge. You could see the skyline, the stars in the background. It was about the size of a basketball. It went up slowly as it walked up, went up the hill. There was nothing around the light. The light did not blind you like a normal bright light that would be facing you.
So what do you think it was?
It stopped, then it took a right, and it started to move slowly, like a Mazda light, and it moved on. When it did that, we all got up, and we took off running to the car. Needless to say, we got the heck out of there. That's one story, and that was, that really got the hair on our back.
So you have no idea what it was?
I assume it was an entity or a ghost, but I'm not a big ghost believer, but now I am after that. And another incident that I had, this one's really brief, I'll make it really brief. there was a lightning strike out one day during a storm out in front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
The lightning was really, it was a loud crash, and I ran out of the room, scared, out of my wits. But before I ran out of the room, a small piece of the lightning, I forget what they call it, it's the physics of lightning. A small piece of lightning came off and hit the lamp in the room. So I ran out on all fours. The next day, I went in that room to replace a light bulb because the lamp needed one.
I'm sure it did.
No lights. So I went and got a light bulb and went up to put it on. There was no light in the room. Nobody was home that day. The light bulb fell out of my hand, hit the ground. I saw it. There was enough light coming in from the other room so where I could see the light bulb bounce a few feet. So I went and I looked for it, couldn't find it, got a flashlight, looked through it for 2-3 hours. I looked for it. There was 2 radiators in there. I looked under them, everything. There was no furniture in there because we were remodeling.
Okay.
I thought somebody was playing a trick on me.
So
when I finally found the light bulb, and there was nobody home, it was jammed behind the radiator amongst the paneling that covers a radiator, and I checked it out, and there was no way it could have rolled under. The space underneath the radiator was not big enough for a light bulb to roll under. It was physically impossible.
I've got you. All right. Well, maybe it was some sort of force that lingered from that branch of the lightning that you talked about. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Good evening, Art.
Good evening.
This is Chris from SeaTac.
Hi, Chris.
And I'm calling to tell you about an incident that happened when I was a teenager. About a sophomore in high school, my mother was teaching in a little town called Midvale, Idaho, between Boise and Moscow.
Sure.
Up in the mountains. And when we got up there that year for her to teach, there was no place for her to rent. But this big old house on a small farm with a big, long horse barn. And this was a very strange house. I guess it had been used as a hotel at one time. And so it had lots and lots of little rooms in it upstairs. And my brother slept downstairs in one room, my mother in another room. And all the cats and dogs stayed down there, but I chose to stay on the second floor in a little room next to a stairway that went up to a catwalk on top of the house, the square. And I had a window in my tiny bedroom on that side of the house, and one night it was real bright moonlight, and I took a chance to walk up on the catwalk to see, it was so beautiful out in the valley and around. And I went back down and stepped into my bedroom and lay down on my bed. The moonlight was shining in real strong through my window underneath it. And
okay, we don't have a lot of time.
Okay, there was a boy sitting on the end of my bed.
Oh.
And I thought, well, I never even had friends over, let alone boys. But I never thought anything strange about this at the time. And he started talking to me, and he said, I slept in this room once. He said, I was riding for the Pony Express. And he said, and I was shot and killed.
Now, wait a minute. How could a boy be in a room where he shouldn't be in your house and you not think anything strange about it?
I didn't at the time, but the more I got to thinking about it later on.
I mean, why weren't you saying to yourself, what is this guy doing here?
I know, I should have. But I felt no uneasiness, no unrest. I was just listening sort of compassionately to him telling his story about how he had stayed there and he had been shot and killed.
Well, that should have tipped you off also.
So that he couldn't finish his run. But what really got me, made my hair stand on end, was, then I turned over and went to sleep like nobody'd been there. And the next day I went down to check my rabbits that were in the horse barn,
Right.
And I reached up above the stall in order to step over some of my rabbits, and I pulled down a rusted old pistol.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Huh. I appreciate the story, dear. Thank you. I guess it may be that you would have to imagine that an entity has a way of putting the person it decides to be in the presence of at ease. There would be no other way to explain that. Otherwise, she should have been utterly startled. I mean, with somebody just appearing in your house where they ought not be, that is at the very least a break-in and something you would normally be immediately concerned about. But there may be a way that these things put you at ease. So people don't have heart attacks, so that people don't die on the spot of fright. And believe me, it's possible to die of fright. So maybe in making their appearance, these entities have a way of calming you. I suppose one might suggest, as a spider may paralyze and calm its victim, and sort of store it and keep it for a while, but not with that same intent in mind.